Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cabinet Vision Guy. Now, we ran an episode a few weeks ago about adding custom data to a label, and since then I've had several questions about how to set up labels. And in this episode we're going to be creating a new label, and we're going to be looking at a few different items that we can add to a label and what I think should be there depending on your setup. Now, before we jump in and design the label, I will just say that there are a couple of different label types that we can design inside Cabinet Vision and Screen to Machine. We can, inside the Screen to Machine Center, create a report for labels and print that off on a complete sheet. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be designing a label for use with the labeling app or real-time labels, so it will get applied prior to the machine going through the nesting or optimization. So to start me off, I'm going to head through to Screen to Machine Center. You can see for this example, I've just got one assembly in here. And whenever I'm setting anything new up inside Cabinet Vision, as you'll probably be aware now, I like to keep the data as simple as possible. It's just a little bit easier to work with. So I'd advise, if you're going to be setting up a new label and you want to be doing testing back and forth to see what it looks like, I'd just start off with a simple job rather than opening a job with a couple of hundred cabinets in. So I'm going to head through to Screen to Machine Center. And with Screen to Machine open, we're going to head to Utilities, and then we're going to go to Label Setup up at the top here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to head away from Jobs and I'm going to head into Design. And what we'll see is we've got the utility now for creating and managing labels. So on the top menu, you'll see that we've got a drop down to access all the labels in our system. We can also create a new label, copy an existing label, we can delete a label, and we can also specify the width and height of the label as well. On the left hand side, we've got a list of fields that are available within our label itself. We've got the option to add new fields, delete existing fields. We can also click in our sample data in here. So if I click on material name or text, for instance, you'll see that we've got the part.name as text in here. And then for each field, we've got the properties, so the X and Y position, the width, height, and then we've got some other properties as well, things like the font angle and the font that we want to use if we're doing a barcode, for instance. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new label, and I'm going to call this one Test Label for something original, and I'm going to put the size of the label in here. You don't have to, but it's recommended that you mark the labels differently and something easy to identify. So I'm going to hit OK there. And then up at the top, I'm going to set the size of the label here. So I'm going to make it 100 wide and I'm going to make it 80 high. And then all I'm left to do is add the fields in that I want to appear on the label down at the machine. Now, before we start adding fields in, I will say there is a lot of information that we can actually add to the label, and not all of it's applicable for everyone. For example, if I'm running a nesting machine and a point-to-point or drilling machine afterwards, I may want to include my secondary programs so they can be scanned. I may have a drill and dowel machine that's working on all four edges, so I may want to include barcodes for them. But obviously, if they're not part of your machining process, you don't have to add them into the label. Now, what I will say is it's really easy to make a very cluttered label with lots and lots and lots of different information in. And we want to try and keep it as clean as possible so that the people on the shop floor in production are actually reading the label and using all the information. And we don't have details that are really important to production that are going to be lost within quite a busy label. So with all that said, let's get on with building our label itself. So if I go and hit add here, you'll see we've instantly got a list of all the fields that are available to us to add to our label. And the first thing I want to do is head down to job, and I want to pick some job information in here so that we can identify this part when it's on the shop floor and know which job it belongs to. So I'm going to use the job name and I'm going to hit OK. And as you can see, as soon as I do that, it will add the field in for me. And what I can do is I can stretch this field out and just grab this point and stretch it across. But I can also modify the properties on the left hand side here. So if I select the height and change this to being 10, for example, you'll see the box just adjusts here, and I'm going to change the text so it's just in the middle. Now, we're not going to build a pretty label with this, we're just going to build a functional label because it's more about talking you through the different fields that are available. You can obviously watch this video and go have a play with what you want on your label itself. So I actually want to label the job number so we know exactly what it is. So I'm going to change the width to being, say, 70. And I'm going to move it across to the right hand side. Then from here, I'm going to click add again, and I'm going to choose text and hit OK. And for the sample text, I'm just going to put job name. And then I'm going to click away, and you'll see this updates to obviously being our job name. I'm going to set the width at 30 and the height at 0. And I'm going to set the height to match this one, so that needs to be 10. So now I'd like to include some room information in here as well, just in case I'm machining multiple rooms. So again, I'm going to go on to add, pick from my drop down list, and I'm going to head down to R. And you'll see we've got the room name and the room number. I'm going to pick both, so I'm going to pick room name first. I'm going to specify the height of 10 again, and I'll leave the width at 50, but I'm going to set the position there at 50. And I'm actually going to specify, I think, 30 for the width on this one. And then again, I'm going to go on to add and add the room number in. So all the way down to R, and we'll pick room number. And again, I'm going to repeat the process. So I'm going to set the height at 10, the width at 20 on this one, and the X position, I want to set this to be 80. And just move it across. And I'm just going to centralize the text on here. And again, I'm going to add another text field in just to show the difference between the two. And I think what I'll probably do is I'll probably stretch this out. And as you can see, if you decide you want something slightly different, you can modify the fields once you've added them in. It really is about getting the information in, all the information that you want for the job, and then seeing how the label fits together. So from here, I'm going to hit add again. I'm going to pick text. And I'm going to set the width of this one to 30 to be the same as that, height to be 10. And for the text, I'm going to put the room name, and I'm just going to put NO for number in there as well. Now I'm just going to highlight a couple more things that you might want to add in for identifying the job, the room. We can also pick customer information from here. I'm not going to add that to my label because I'm going to move on to cabinets and the parts themselves. But you can see we've got the customer address, the customer contact, email, and all the contact details essentially, properties for the customer. And we get this obviously when we fill out initially with our job, our properties window. So the next field that I'm going to add in is to help me identify the cabinet itself. So I'm going to shoot back up here and see that we've got the cabinet information. So I want to put the cabinet name on here and the cabinet number as well. So I'm going to hit OK. And again, I'm sure you're used to this by now. We're going to set the width and the height. And for the Y position, I'm going to make this 20. And for the X position, I'm going to make this 30. So I'm just going to move this away. And I'm going to set the width, and I'll just stretch this one out roughly to be the same width in here. And then I'm going to add another field, which is going to be the cabinet number. So if I come all the way down, we've got the cabinet number here. And obviously this is going to correspond to all your cutting lists and plans and everything else where you've got the cabinet name and number associated to your assembly sheets too. And again, I'm going to set the width at 20 and the height at 10 and the X position at 80 and the Y position at 20 for this one. And again, I'm just going to centralize this. And I'm sure you can guess, but I'm going to add another text field in here. I'm going to set the Y position to be 20, the width to be 30, and the height to be 10. And for this one, I'm just going to put cab name, and I'm going to put NO for number in there as well, and then just click away. So now we've got job information, we've got room information, and we've also got cabinet information on our label as well. And it's time to look at what we can add in for the component itself, the part. So I'm actually going to start off by picking a graphic for this one. So rather than having some text, and I'm going to head down to the bottom of my list, and you'll see we've got the part section in here. And what we should have is we've got the part graphic, and I'm going to add this in, and I'm just going to drag this down to the bottom here. And for this one, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make this the same width as the label itself. So for the width, I'm going to specify 100. And I'm just going to move this so it's roughly central. And for the height, I'm going to make this, I think, about 50, or maybe a little bit less, leave us some space. So if I go 30 in there, we should see we've got our part graphic. And I'm just going to move this up to leave us a little bit more space at the bottom of the label itself. Now there's a couple of different graphics that you might want to add into the label, and I'm just going to put the first one on screen, which is what we've just added. This one is the part graphic, and I've just got an example of this on the screen at the moment. So what you'll see with this is we've got a drawing of the component, the part that we're processing at the time, but we've also got on each edge what we call a banding indicator. And this aligns with the edge banding that we've got set up in the system. So you can see on this one, on the right hand side, we've got E for external edge banding. On the left hand side, we've also got E for external edge banding. On the front face, we've got L, which is a custom banding indicator. And on the back face, we've got I, which is our interior banding. Now, there is another graphic that you might want to include. So if I just hit add for a second, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take a look. We've got part, and it is position on sheet, and what this does is it gives us an idea of where the part is going to be relative to the sheet itself. So again, I'm going to put an image on screen to show you what that looks like, and as you can see with this, we've actually got a full sheet that we're looking at now, and on the left hand side, highlighted in grey, is the component that's going to be output for this machine, and the two white sections in there are actually offcuts. Obviously, if we've got multiple components on here, we'll also see that on the graphic itself. So it just gives you an idea of where the part is relative to the sheet, and can help when we're outputting and when we're manually sticking the labels down. I'm just going to highlight before we go and add some more part properties to our label. We've also, in the banding section, we've got every letter of the alphabet here for the edge banding indicators, and we can have the material that's going to be applied for that particular edge banding type also added to the label. So if you've got two E's for exteriors and I for interior, and you look up in this list, we've got the exterior material in here. And if we just come down, we've also got the internal material as well. So you can see the exact material that's going to be applied during the edge banding process. So the last thing that I'm going to highlight before we add the part properties is just the CNC properties in here, and we will be doing a separate little video for some of these. But you can see that we've got a CNC secondary barcode, and as I mentioned before, if I have a point-to-point machine set up in my system and I want to be able to barcode scan the program, we can include the secondary barcode in here and have that on the label ready for scanning. So the last option for this, we're going to add in some part properties. So I'm going to scroll right down to where we've got the part size, and I'm going to put the part length by width by thickness in here, and I'm just going to move this one down and stretch it out again to be the full size of the label, and I'm going to just set the height at 10. I'm going to centralize the text, and then what we want to do is we want to add the part name in here as well, which seems fairly obvious. So again, I'm going to add a new field. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pick out the part name, hit OK, and again I'm just going to roughly drag this into place. I'm going to set the width at 100, the height at 10, and just move it across down here. We can see from the dotted line roughly where it's going to go, and I'm just going to place that there. Now once we're happy with our label, all we need to do is hit OK. Then what we need to do is just head into the machine catalog, head to output, and you'll see up at the top we can select our label in here. So I've got my test label 100 by 80, and we can select a different label for the offcut as well, which is really useful. So I'm going to set this to be the same label for now, but ideally we'd be designing a slightly different label for the offcut, maybe with the offcut ID in for barcode scanning again. And from here, if we close this down and then we optimize our job and output NC code and labels, we should see our new label design. Hopefully you found this episode useful. Feel free to give us a like, share and subscribe. We're also on Facebook, that's facebook.com/thecabinetvisionguy, and Instagram too, that's instagram.com/thecabinetvisionguy. Cheers!